Something's happening just about every day in this Volta a Catalunya. The GC leaders' jerseys changing shoulders every day. Crosswinds really decisive today. We're in the far south of the Catalunya region, actually, in a flatter area compared to the area like La Seu d'Urgell, where they had La Molina, or Berga, where they go back tomorrow. And the climbs were neutralized at the start because of high winds, which you can guess means there's wind later on the flatter plain section. So Roglic, I think he's in the leader's jersey. Ayuso was behind him on stage placements. So a tricky day for the GC teams. As you can see in the formation, 90k's to go. Visma chasing with Kruijswijk for Matthew Brennan for a sprint. It's a flat finish. Picnic Postinella chasing for Pavel Bittner. There's a pretty strong breakaway with Bruno Amiral, Bizkarra, but unfortunately for them, the GC teams also helped the sprinters teams. You see some traffic furniture, but they're on a big highway. Brennan's getting into position because the crosswind's coming from their right shoulder, so you're protected in the left gutter. And yeah, even the position on the bikes, you can see they're leaning into the wind coming from their right. So a day to be in position, a nervous day on these big highways, and you can see they're not in the mountains, or at least flush with the mountains. They're on open plains, and those flags are waving, telling you where the wind's coming. And yeah, you can even see it with guys who are probably just going to get some bid-ons, and then when the pace increases because they're coming up to the intermediate sprint, suddenly Juanpe Lopez is being put under pressure, and Emmanuel is having to bring him back to the bunch. And here is that sprint in La Aldea, and Polanyi was the last from the breakaway. He took the 3 seconds. Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe have two riders in front of Roglic looking good. They just got to do the lead out, but then the rider in behind Nico Denz kind of flicks Roglic, and Ayuso is on Roglic's wheel. So Ayuso takes the slingshot. Roglic gets left on a gap, and so Ayuso takes 1 bonus second ahead of Roglic and goes into the provisional GC leaders jersey, with Denz taking 2 seconds. And then 25k's to go. They really enter a heavy crosswind section. Geraint Thomas comes to the front. He's a master in these sort of stages, crosswinds. I still remember that Dauphiné stage he won with a late flyer ahead of Colbrelli. One of the only men who could beat Colbrelli on his 2021 run. And here you can see Ineos, Movistar, Visma put it in the gutter, and there's going to be splits this close to the finish. If there are splits, there's no time to get the troops back together. Bernal in good position. Ayuso started in good position. Starting in good position is the key. It doesn't matter how strong you are in the crosswinds, how well you can ride in an echelon. If you started this section P100 and someone drops the wheel ahead of you, it's all over. You can see, look, Bernal being guided by Thomas, Roglic on the wheel of Bernal. They're getting full shelter in the gutter there. And being brought up into position by Thomas, and you're just waiting for someone to drop the wheel. Eventually, someone's going to drop the wheel under this pressure, and it happens just behind Simon Yates, I think. I think he's that last Visma rider. He's literally the last rider to make it, with some of the, maybe Lotto dropping the wheel, or EF, can't tell which, from the overhead, and that's it. 30k's an hour crosswind, split happening. That's all she wrote, because probably the strongest riders in the crosswind were in the front already, like Nairo Quintana. He never missed an echelon since it ruined his GC one year. Roglic pulling through, Bernal pulling through, Moran van den Berg there. If you're there, you got to pull through. That's the rule of the echelons. It's the safest place to be, pulling through. You don't want to be in the gutter at the back. You want to limit your time getting spat out the back in single file. And yes, Lotto missed it. Leonard Van Outveld lost his GC and UAE Tour with crosswinds. Juanpe, Richatello, Felix Gull, all the usual suspects miss it. Michel Hessman for Movistar already paying dividends. You see Simon Yates on a gap. The wind, they changed direction. Now it's from their left shoulder. It resplit, and then they stop again, and then those riders who were just behind were able to come back. Ayuso always in good position, and then this is the final split with 16k's to go. The riders that were in it are in it, and we're going to have a sprint. I mean, maybe so reduced that Roglic and Ayuso can get amongst it and go for the bonus seconds, the 10.64 at the finish. Little trek pacing for Juanpe, but it's forlorn. As I said, if you get split this close to the finish with fresh domestiques, like Movistar, they were really good in the Abanicos today. Torres, who's a track rider who launched Ana Rubio on Jebel Jais like last year or something. Hessman, who's a climbing rouleur, who moved over to Movistar this year, just started racing because his suspension finished like a couple of weeks ago, and he's, A climbing rouleau like that can make the difference on these sort of stages for Enrique Mas. You've got Matthew Brennan there, Bittner, Ayuso, Thibaut Del Grosso, who indeed nearly won the first stage on a flyer for Alpecin, so he's made it pretty much on his own. And look, Gente, he's seeing the boys on the front. He's like, oh, this is a great position to see and be in. He must be happy parking the car there and seeing all these boys on the front ripping it up, improving Enrique Mas's GC position. Ineos try to resplit it. 8.4Ks to go. You see how they're closer to the gutter as a team? And basically the last guy who can be in position in the gutter was one of their teammates. It didn't work. It wasn't long enough in that section, but yeah, they tried to resplit it, which was smart for Bernal, who needs to make up GC positions, and guys like Landa had no teammates. He's the only guy of Soudal Quickstep to make this group, and actually Pablito Torres made it for UAE. Does the lead out. They've got Axel Laurence here, the fast finisher, Frenchman who just joined Ineos Grenadiers, but he launches too early outside of Torres. Corbin Strong and Bittner are deeper. This is a cross headwind sprint. And when I pause it on the flags blowing at about 125, you can see how strong it is. Look at the Catalan flag at the top of the screen as before the camera angle changes. Look how strong that wind is. And actually where Brennan was on the other side was the fastest way to sprint. Laurence should have sprinted on the other barrier maybe. Brennan slingshots through, doesn't get boxed in today like on the stage Vernon won, and wins with a clean pair of heels, coming through at about 50 meters to go and going away from them. So Del Grosso shoots through. I think he took second on the bike throw. It's another good result for the Neo Pro on Alpecin de Koenig. And yeah, Laurence just launched a bit early. Ayuso and the GC boys couldn't get through to take any bonus seconds at the finish. And it's 2 World Tour wins now for Matthew Brennan, who's on a hot streak. Ahead of Del Grosso, then Bittner, Vandenberg, Strong, Laurence, Godon, Nicodens, Fagundes, and Juan Ayuso rounding out the top 10. Matthew Brennan's got about 6 wins in the last month. Here's what he had to say after the stage.
We'd worked all day, and then we knew this would be a little bit hectic coming into the final, and I think the whole team was there, and we pressed on, and we really managed our effort. And I think, yeah, we came into the finish in a good position, and I'm so happy that I could finish it off for them. It's really nice that Stevie was sat working for me all day, and you know that gives you that extra bit of motivation to really kind of want to finish it off strong. And and I think the fact that all the guys were really motivated to kind of get to the finish, also for GC as well, and I think we all did such a good job. And motivation-wise, it's so nice when your whole team is around you and there's not many of you left. So I'm really happy with the guys, and
In terms of GC, big ramifications actually. Ayuso, he takes the jersey back off Roglic by a second. Lenny Martinez made the split, I think. He must have, which is incredible. Bernal and De Plus move up. Van Aertvelt loses time. Yates is up into the top 10. Carapaz, I think, up there. And yeah, guys like Richatello, Juanpe, Felix Gall, they ain't made for the crosswinds and they suffered in them today. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you on tomorrow. Ciao.